Campers, we've got a good news and a bad news situation. Good news is this hasn't been canceled yet. We're still aging gracefully. I'm still Matthew Essex. Bad news is this is going to be our last Friday the 13th movie review together, because this is the last Friday the 13th movie that we were gifted via the silver screen. Of course, I'm talking about the Friday the 13th remake from 2009, directed by Mr. Marcus Nispel. Now, Marcus is still on my Christmas card list based solely on the fact that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake that he gave us was tremendous. If you haven't seen it, go see it. After you watch this, but then go see it. Everything that happens before the credits was really, really cool. It really resembled sort of almost like a fan film. But it was well done. I mean, we've got 5 kids traipsing through the woods, 2 of which are privy to a marijuana crop planted somewhere around there. Well, unfortunately for them, this crop they're looking for just happens to be right next door to Camp Crystal Lake and one Jason Voorhees. We also meet Whitney, who appears to be the final girl, but it's kind of left up in the air what happens to her when we get to the opening credits. And once we hit the credits, we're into the main story. In the main story, we have Trent and all his friends. They are going to Trent's folks' place to spend a weekend at the cabin. And then on the other side of things, we have Clay. Now, Clay is Whitney's brother, and he is trying desperately to find his missing sister. He's going door to door, business to business, on his motorcycle, passing out flyers, asking about his sister's whereabouts. The stoners were effective. The jocks were effective. The nerds were effective. The girls were beautiful. Everything was done very, very well in this film. Jason is played by Derek Mears, not Kane Hodder. And this dude was creepy. He was very imposing. And I remember reading he was really honored to be playing this role. It's something that he had always thought about, something he'd always wanted to do. He was a big fan of the franchise, and it was cool to read that. And he did it. He made the role his own. I mean, when you think of Jason Voorhees, you're always going to think of Kane Hodder. This dude came in a close second for my money. We get Baghead Jason at the onset of the movie, and through a chance encounter with a hillbilly in a barn, he stumbles upon his hockey mask, that glorious hockey mask that he would wear for the duration of the film. Now, there's 13 kills in this movie, appropriately, because Friday the 13th. The most memorable one, I would probably say, happens to Willa Ford at a boat dock with a machete, and I won't give you any more spoilers on that one. Most people have probably seen this movie. I mean, it's 15 years old. If you haven't, it's worth checking out. I know a lot of people didn't like this movie. A lot of people I've talked to weren't a fan of remakes. Were not a fan of this remake. But I think they're wrong. I think this is an enjoyable movie. It checks all the boxes. Jason's scary. The climax is great. It's not very often that the best sequence of a film happens at the very beginning of the movie, but the best sequence of this film is the very beginning of the movie. Although the very end, we get Whitney, we get Clay, and they're running from Jason. They're all that's left. So the climax of the movie is good too, because Clay is played by Jared Padalecki from Supernatural. Really imposing dude. Does a really good job in this role, and it looks like he can give Jason a run for his money. I won't spoil the ending, but Jason essentially kept Whitney alive all this time because Whitney looked like Jason's mother, and that factors into how things turn out for Jason in the end. The biggest tragedy of this film, in my opinion, is that we never got a follow-up. Never got a part 2. We never got a follow-up, and for me, that was a major, major bummer, because this movie ages gracefully. It's 15 years old, and we're well out of the 80s. But they killed it with this one. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Check it out. Give it a look. Drop me a line. Let me know what you think. I'm really open to hearing opinions on these movies. A lot of times it's nice to see another person's point of view, because you can be made aware of things that you otherwise would have missed. And those things are cool, and that's kind of the reason I want to do this. So for this one and for Friday the 13th, that is it. That is all. I will see you fine folks on the ranking show and on the other side. Nightmare on Elm Street next. Boom.